Today I'm at Essendon Fields Airport here in Melbourne, just outside the Shortstop Jet Charter hangar. You may be wondering what brings the Talking Wealth team here. Well, it's this man, Captain Mike Falls Sr., who with his son is owner of Shortstop Jet Charter and pilot of these amazing aircraft.
With over 50 years in business aviation, Mike has evolved his company from light twin aircraft to intercontinental jets like this one. Mike's passion for flying, like many pilots, was inspired by family members, and in this case, his father.
We grew up in Darwin after World War II. My dad worked for the government and then he went and worked for Qantas as an engineer, and I was exposed to aviation at a young age. They were an intoxicating thing to a kid. The people I met were real pioneers and legends of Australia, and seeing that happen was amazing. And the progression over the time I've been involved in aviation has been just incredible. I was accepted into the RAF when I was 17 and had spent a couple of years waiting for that. We lasted a year before my attitude became a bit much for the service. And I was shattered. They said, oh, look, you're a mediocre pilot and we think you'll make it not a very good officer, so we don't think so. Luckily, I went back and flew with them for 20-odd years at the museum sometime later, so it was rescued a bit, which was lovely.
In 1984, Shortstop Jet Charter commenced operations and have been flying business jets ever since, which makes it the longest continuously operating jet charter company in Australia.
We provide advice to people about getting into and out of aeroplanes for whatever reason they want to, personally or business. And it's a complex thing. It's not brain surgery, but not everyone knows about it. The aeroplanes they're like any other device. They're mechanical objects, and it's not hard to learn about mechanical objects. Buying the aeroplane's easy, you sign the check. Keeping it is hard. You've now got this wonderful aeroplane. Now, how do we actually operate it to do what you want it to do? Because you can operate the aeroplane doesn't mean you know how to actually use it and all the infrastructure that needs to go to make the product what the customer wants. And that's the hard part.
From day one, Mike placed great store in providing a pathway for young aviators to kickstart their careers. With over 20 young and talented individuals learning about aviation, his son Mike Jr. being one of them.
We've had this wonderful series of young people over the last 30 years. They come along qualified, they've spent 180 grand of HECS debt to get a commercial licence sometimes, and they have never been exposed to business. And it takes a couple of years for them to get to the point where they start to get a bit of a glimmer, The hardest thing is getting them to be comfortable with making a decision on their own. So many people, oh no, where do you want me to do this? What do you reckon? And it seems as simple as that. Then after a while, what it does, it uncovers leaders. And the important part comes when they make a blue, when there's a mistake occurs. Yes. My main mantra to them is, look, the best football coach bats 63%, the best ones. And to do that, you've got to make a lot of decisions. You're going to make 37% mistakes. Now, if you can bat above that, you're going okay.
But running a corporate jet company servicing the needs of corporations and high net worth individuals doesn't come cheaply. It's a serious business requiring serious money to keep it running, and most importantly, running safely.
A typical business jet, something like this aircraft, before you fly it, is somewhere around $3 million a year, just to have everything in place so you can fly it safely and reliably and compliantly. Airplanes are time machines. They buy time for people. They cost a lot to do this. And the people who own them, almost universally, if you said to them, now how do you feel about owning an airplane and the cost? They say, we're appalled at what it's costing us and we can't envisage our lives without it. It just changes everything. At one point in the airplane's life with the customer, which can be a year or 40 years, it paid for itself because it made something possible that would never have occurred. It's incredible.
With any business, you've got to have fun. And for Mike, this is where the Albatross L39 comes in. Melbourne Jet Fighter, a sister company to Shortstop, run adventure flights in this L39 jet fighter trainer. Like every flight in a Shortstop corporate jet, the jet fighter flights are also planned and briefed in fine detail to ensure the passenger safety and enjoyment is set to max.
Along the way, I've retained an interest in military aviation. In recent times, we've got an L39, which is a current generation jet trainer we operate here, and we do adventure flights. We show people what it's like to fly in a military jet and a typical military mission. We show them the whole experience, and it's very popular. We get them to allocate 3 hours or so, morning or afternoon. We spend a couple of hours on the ground going through safety procedures, talking to them, answering their questions. We're meticulous in that way. It's not just a wham bam, let's go away, off we go. It pretty much approximates what a military service would do with a trainee who's maybe halfway through their training, and they're considering whether to fly fast jets or transports or helicopters. And both the Air Force and the trainee are looking at each other saying, the trainee be saying, well, do I really want to do this, sit in this rotten little thing on my own, doing 500 knots at 100 feet? A lot of us do, but a lot of us don't.
If you need to travel quickly in comfort and in style, then this is for you. But if you feel the need for speed, then this is for you. There are many options housed in Hangar 5 at Essendon Fields.